Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Always Online Multiplayer Gaming Podcast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things multiplayer related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka Magicman, and this is episode 492. We're doing it live, twitch.tv/MMOBomb, as we always do, a little later. Normally it's 1 p.m. Eastern. We went a little later today because I had a work conference call I had to knock out. But the gents who are hanging with me to talk about all kinds of MMO and multiplayer game stuff, including New World's expansion, are here. So is chat. Joining me today, Mr. Troy Blackburn, the Noob Fridge himself. What's up, New World? I mean, Noob Fridge.
Got my New World shirt on, ready to talk a little New World. Brand new from Amazon.com. It's soft. It fits very well. Hashtag not sponsored.
I did not get a box from New World. I did get a box this week, but I didn't know what it was, so I'd opened it. Normally, if I know like somebody's sending me something for MMOBomb, I don't open it. We open it at the beginning of the cast here, but I didn't know. I'm sorry. It was a really nice Leeds' canvas bag from Wargaming celebrating their 25th anniversary, so that was kind of nice. And a bag of coffee for World of Warships, which I handed to the wife, and I was like, do with it what you will. Not a coffee guy. Also on the line, the Dino Fries one, Mr. Matthew Donofrio. Donofrio. I can never remember which way you prefer here. The Donofrio or Donofrio?
Honestly, both work.
Okay.
Just depends where you're from, I guess.
Yeah, like my in-laws, that's my mother-in-law's maiden name. And
interesting.
And they pronounce, I think we talked about this when you were interviewed for the job too. And they're Donofrio. But I think for you, because of where you hail from, I've been saying Donofrio.
Yeah.
Maybe
it
that's
could go either way.
Either way. I know both of these gents can't wait for what we're about to talk about. So let me hit this news bump and we'll get us started. Here we go. Troy, New World's expansion, Rise of the Angry Earth, finally made it out off of the PTR and onto live servers earlier this week. You've had about 3 days-ish of, well, I should say, in theory, you've had about 3 days-ish of being able to access the MMO's new expansion, revamping a lot of stuff, adding new content, upping the level cap, adding the flail, adding mounts finally, revamping some of the endgame stuff, not all of it, but some of it, with plans for additional things to come later that didn't make the expansion, and a whole new season pass as well. I'll throw it to you first. It's your game out of everybody on the staff. First and foremost, what's the initial reception?
Rise of the Angry Q Times.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
It's
pretty
especially
bad.
on Marama. Of course, I'm on the worst server, the most populated one by far. There are Q Times on a lot of servers, but Marama is widely accepted as the worst one. So between fighting Q Times and finally getting into the game, I stayed up till 6 o'clock this morning playing. So I've played off and on, through the week, but this was my largest chunk of playtime for sure. I played about 6 or 7 hours worth last night, and I was having a really good time. I will have to say I was really having fun. I was running dungeons. I'm just running story mode dungeons right now. I just got my gear up high enough where I can start into mutation 1s. So I'm getting ready to jump into that. I got to get some gems ready for that, but been running dungeons, been doing chest runs, getting gear upgrades. Getting gear upgrades is fun. I'd forgotten how much fun it is to get gear upgrades, even when you're just doing chest runs.
Well, that's also
nice
one of those things, though, that's taken multiple passes for them to get right, though. Like getting a gear that matters, or gear with gear score that matters. Like that's not new to the expansion, the way gear acquisition happens. That's kind of been like it's happened in 3 or 4 pieces leading up to the expansion, right?
Yep. Yeah, and the expertise system is gone now, so no more of this finding a piece and then having to spend thousands of umbral shards and dozens of hours to level up this piece of gear. It's the gear score it's going to be, and to get a higher gear score piece, you got to change the content you're doing and go into harder content. That's why I need to jump into M1s and that way the window for drops jumps up to 700, and I can get max gear score. Getting ready for that, so I'm finally ready. I've been tanking a few dungeons as well. I haven't tanked in a while, and I've had an absolute blast tanking dungeons. Mounts are freaking fantastic, though. Mounts are great, especially when you get the first couple of speed upgrades. It's really noticeable when you get the first couple of speed upgrades. So it's a lot of fun traversing the world now and just exploring and doing the races. I found myself enjoying doing the races, which I didn't really think going into it I was going to enjoy very much. I didn't think I would like that. I was already like, man, how long is it going to take to just level the mount up just by feeding them? Because I don't know that I want to do these races. But I've been enjoying it. I spent a couple of hours last night just doing races. So been enjoying my time in the expansion when I can get in.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the queue times in a minute here, but I think this panel, like, this show almost didn't happen the way I wanted this to happen because Troy had some stuff going on and maybe wasn't going to be able to make it and stuff. I'm glad it worked out this way because this, I think, is the perfect panel to have the New World expansion discussion because all three of us, we ranged the gamut, right? Like, Troy, you are a player that never really left. You have always been playing and just watching the improvements, and this is, at the moment, for the last year or so, your MMO of choice with things like Elder Scrolls Online filling downtime between New World stuff and just trying to shake things up a little bit. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I was somebody that literally, when the expansion came out and I said, all right, where am I going to go? I don't even remember what level I was, and it turned out I was only level 17 before I was like, screw this game, I'm done. I'm out of here. The first look is done. We've talked about it on the cast. I've fulfilled my professional obligation, and I have no personal reason to want to play this game. And then Matthew, you were kind of in the middle between us. Like, you stuck with it longer than I did. You didn't quite get to max level at the time. You didn't quite get to max level and start doing end game stuff, but you were encroaching on that. You had more experience with some of the systems than I did. We kind of bridge all three types of New World players here. So now, obviously, Troy was going to like this unless they really, really foobarred it. We'll talk about queues in a minute. But you and I are the two that Amazon are really aiming for, right? Like, they knew they had Troy. They wanted you back and get you at endgame and to continue playing and make season progress. And they wanted me, somebody who really wasn't interested in your product after launch, to give it another shot and stick with it. So let's start with you first. Somebody that played longer, but eventually still did leave it. What's the expansion doing for you? You even wrote a piece about it this week.
Yeah. For me, it's great solely because of mounts. The big problem I had with New Worlds until now is the slow, sloggy moving around that you have to do in between quests. There's a lot of fast traveling available to you, but there's still a lot of running around you have to do when it comes to quests, and I wasn't done with the quests. I was only level 40 something. And I knew that the way to reach endgame was to do main quests. And I just didn't want to run back and forth between NPCs and killing like a handful of mobs just to get to endgame. And so I was like, I'll just wait for mounts. And I waited, and now they're here. And yeah, they're really, really awesome. I don't know how this game was designed to be without mounts because
Chirac bringing that up in chat, like, wasn't one of their excuses that the game was designed to not use mounts. They wanted that long walk. They wanted that exploration. That was the player they were catering to. And then I guess, 13,000, 18,000 players wasn't exactly what they wanted. And they were like, guess we better put mounts in.
Yeah, I have no idea what they were thinking when they wanted people to walk and run around. It makes so much sense to like just run around the world with your mounts. I mean, I think one of their reasoning was that the world isn't big enough for mounts. And I mean, it's definitely, the world is smaller compared to other MMOs for sure, but in my opinion, like, the detail in each area is quite nice, and running around your mounts is phenomenal. Um, Throughout the world, whether you're doing quests or just going from like even just going between fast travel points, it just makes everything so much quicker and streamlined. So on that side of things, like I've had such a positive experience. Unfortunately,
there's the
besides
but, Troy. There's the but.
Uh-oh.
the queue times are super bad. You just you I haven't played at sorry, I haven't played like in like the evening or like nighttime. Like I tried logging in last night after watching a movie, and it was like a 3 something thousand queue, and this was like at 11 p.m., which is like crazy. The highest queue I've seen so far is I think almost 5,000, which was nuts. I've just been waking up early, and I wake up early anyways, so I just been waking up a little bit earlier to play, and I've had 0 queue time, so queues haven't affected me that much. But my problem is that the game is bugged. You mentioned that there's a new season pass, right? This is the third
which I've heard is
season
bugged.
pass. Absolutely nobody can do it. In fact, I logged in today, checked the season pass, see if it was fixed. Not only is it not fixed, my progress got erased. So that sucks. But you can't get any rewards from the season pass, and I actually bought the premium thing. I've never spent money on the game besides just buying it at launch, but I guess they gave like premium currency to people along the way. So I had some, so I bought the premium pass with the battle pass because why not? I can't do anything about that because there's no rewards. And the biggest thing is that the main story quest is bugged. So, which sucks. I don't know if it'll affect you, Mike, because you made a brand new character, but I know it affects returning players, which is really bad for them in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty frustrated about that because I was super excited and I was like having so much fun going through the main story quest. It's a bit grindy, but the mount thing was phenomenal. Things were streamlined. I was seeing new parts of this beautiful in-game world, and I was excited. And I got to a point in the main story quest where I literally had no more main story quests. And that was like the other day. So for the past couple of days, it's like I can't progress in the game, which sucks. I've been still logging in and doing like other things, but like you can't even really play the game until you reach the end game, until you reach level 60. Like you can't go to the new zone because I think you have to do a quest to get there, and you can't get that quest until you do the main story. You can't do PvP until you're level 60 for the most part. There's a lot of things that you can't do, so that sucks for me and other returning players. But aside from that, I am addicted to an MMO again, and I haven't been for a long time, so that's nice.
Yeah, certainly a good feeling. And Troy, I mean, even in your interview, you kind of alluded to you guys usually have update issues of some type. You guys talked to Scott about dupes, gold dupes, and things like that. But just generally speaking, like bugs, and here we are again with some. Now, I did, as Matt said, create an entire new character. I literally logged into my level 17 character. I was in the middle of, I don't know, insert city name here, right? I was just like, I don't know where the hell I was. Silver Wastes. I was just
Might as well have been for you.
might as well have been. I was just sitting in the Silver Wastes. And I looked around and it was like I had this half full quest log. There was just shit above everybody's head. And I was like, yeah, this ain't going to work. What weapons was I using? Oh, these are abilities? Yeah, no, none of this is going to work. It can't be that long to get to 17 again, right? And Troy's like, nah, it shouldn't take that long. They've been making changes to that before the expansion, and they've made even more now to the new player experience. So I was like, okay, fine, rolled a new character. Literally an hour and a half, 2 hours later, as Troy, Matthew, and I are messaging in the background, I'm like, hey, I'm level 18. Like, I had surpassed my original New World character running around. I think it's funny that, like, obviously I haven't had the mounts yet, right? You got to be level 25 for mounts.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit of time there. I haven't had a chance to play over the last day or two. So I'm still 18, 19, 20, right around in there. So I don't have mounts yet. I do think it's funny that you guys are like gushing over this MMO feature from 2021. I get it. Like I get you're both very happy that they're in the game and they do make things easier and more enjoyable. But it's also like I'm the guy that's like, really, we're gonna give them credit for adding a feature that's been in MMOs since 2004. Like that's the credit we're giving New World.
Hey, Guild Wars 2 went a long time without mounts
did.
too, and
They
they got
did.
a lot of credit when they added them as well.
All right,
Did World of
fine.
Warcraft start with mounts like from the very beginning?
Well, I remember when I started playing I did the Warlock specific class mount quest, and that was, yeah, I don't know if they were in vanilla. Maybe somebody in chat can answer, or in vanilla right off the bat. They were in vanilla, but were they right off the bat? Like day one, when you hit level 20 or 40 or whatever it was, could you get mounts if you had the gold? Let us know in chat off the top of my head. I don't remember if they were there launch day, but it wasn't long after. They were in vanilla at some point. I'll tell you what, the revamped new player experience is much more enjoyable than it used to be. The old one, Troy, just like crammed so much at you so fast. Systems, factions, like all these different things that you literally got to the point where you were like, I only half understand, if that, some of these things. Like it wasn't even really clear what you were picking factions for and how you helped your faction and things like that.
What's really sad at launch is it did that, and then it just dropped you at some point.
Yeah.
And then you were just faction board missions is all you had.
Yeah, I'm level 18, 19, whatever, and I haven't even gotten to pick a faction yet. Like, they have spaced some stuff out more. They've added and fleshed in some more detail on some things, on some systems and things like that. Very happy with the way that it's going. I'm enjoying playing it, even though, yeah, Matthew, I still unfortunately have to do a little more walking than I would like right now, but I am definitely enjoying it. Combat's always been kind of 50-50 for me. I feel it like really depends on the type of weapon you're using. The new flail, I know that's something, Troy, you wanted to check out and bash some people with. But there have been some weapons that I'm like, this feels horrible. And then other weapons, I'm like, I really like the way this plays. So like right now, I think, and I'm sure, I have not like looked up builds or anything, Troy. So I'm sure I'm running around as just an absolute monkey of a character right now, where my stats are just in the wrong places and things like that. But I'm rocking the fire staff and the blunderbuss. So it's like I'm playing.
And some weapons really don't pick up until you hit level 12 or 15 or so with them, because some of them are really lackluster till you start getting some of the perks and stuff with them.
I'm just blasting things as a mage from afar, and when they get too close, putting a bunch of just shotgun pellets in all over them is like the strategy that I'm taking right now.
Fire staff, blunderbuss.
Yeah, and it's probably a garbage build. I don't care, right? Once I get to end game, then I'll worry about like picking a build that's viable and stuff like that. One thing I don't like this about New World, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or not. Excuse me, Troy, you can help me with this. First off, I hate the jump. You can't do anything about that. I've always hated the jump in New World.
The jump is terrible.
The jump is awful. It's absolutely horrendous. The lack of swimming still just mystifies me. Just absolutely mystifies me. I can be in the lightest of lightest armor or butt-ass naked, and I still sink like a stone and just walk across the bottom of bodies of water until I drown. But the thing that bugged me then and still bugs me now is I do find myself hitting these gaps of things where my weapon of choice has become too weak to not turn every fight into a struggle until I find or manage to get a drop or whatever of a more appropriate level weapon. Like my blunderbuss that I'm using is a white common, and it's 6 levels. You know, I picked it up 6 or 7 levels ago. I have not seen a new closer to level appropriate one since then, but everything is scaling. And so now these things that I used to be able to take 2, maybe 3 of in a challenging fight, now 1 becomes that's a level appropriate, becomes a little more of a challenge. And that has always kind of felt off to me. And I know they want you to get into the crafting system to like alleviate those gaps, but they don't actually ease you into the crafting to show you that's how you alleviate those gaps. If you're just an average MMO player, you're like, when the hell am I going to get another blunderbuss drop? I mean, this one is like doing half the damage it used to, and I'm dying to things that are exactly my level now. I don't feel like that's particularly been fixed in a nice way.
Yeah, unfortunately, the trading post and crafting are the answers to that problem. Crafting in particular. But I'm not as familiar with the new leveling system. Obviously, I leveled up in the old school system. I did run some of the missions on PTR when they came out, but not like to get into like the crafting and really deep dive into like the leveling. I would just wanted to see the new missions and quests and stuff. So yeah, unfortunately, crafting is the solution to your problem. And if they haven't really done anything to lead you in that direction yet, I can see a lot of players not understanding that this is one of the MMOs out there where crafting really is important.
Yeah, and I
And
know that
you
going
can
into
craft
it.
best in slot gear.
Yeah, I
through
know
crafting.
that going into it, but then it
Yeah,
becomes a question of farming materials, which is just like, is
yeah.
that really what you want your level 12 character to be doing? If they don't enjoy crafting or gathering, then there's some roadblocks in their path very early in the game where they maybe, in my experience, they probably don't need to be there. As far as players coming back, queues are absurd in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know how they address that, right? Because they tried this once at launch and shortly after with adding a bunch of servers to alleviate queues, and then it just invariably, as it always does, led to a bunch of server merges after that. And when
Mhm.
you look at the Steam player base, and again, New World is only available on Steam, so it is one of those few MMOs where we can look at Steam charts and know that we're seeing the entire player base. While the expansion has led to an obvious increase in players, there are 56,000 playing as of an hour ago, and 56,700 as the 24 all-time peak. Those are certainly vast improvements over, 14 to 16,000 people playing at any given point as far as like their average player count on a given month. And again, this does not, the true analytics are monthly average users and playtime and engagement and things like that. But when you look at just raw player count, Troy, are you a little concerned that the numbers we're seeing now, almost 4 days, and this is kind of the first weekend coming up, so maybe these numbers will go up again over the weekend, but they have failed to reach the numbers that we saw when the first season launched back in November 2022, and that player bump that came with switching a bunch of things and adding the season, that reaching like 140,000 peak players and like 67,000 average players that month. And of course, a slow trickle there. Are you concerned that the expansion hasn't at least pulled in those numbers yet? And again, maybe weekend number 1, starting today, will pull in those numbers, but as of right now, they have not.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little concerning that a season, the first season coming in, does more numbers than your big paid expansion. But like I said, we got the weekend coming up, and also I'm pretty sure there were more. Or actually, I know there were more servers at the time, so there were more players actually in the game at a time. Because there are, like Matthew said, I've seen queues up to 4,000. That's 2 servers worth of people in queue. Because servers are maxed out at 2,750 right now. They upped it from 2,500 to 2,750 per server, and there are 2 servers worth of people in freaking queue waiting to get in. So it's a little disconcerting, and there's no telling how many people are leaving when they see those queue numbers. I've done it. I've left a few times. I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
And then the other night I was like, screw it. I'm gonna I'm gonna get in this queue. I'm going to go cook dinner. I'm going to do this and do that. Ended up falling asleep, coming back to me an AFK kick because it logged in while I fell asleep.
Oh. I do think there's something, though, Matthew, to be said when you make that comparison to the season 1 numbers at launch versus the expansion. It's important to note, I think, that the season 1 was free, right? There was that update, not the season pass, the premium season pass. You had to pay for that. But that update that drew a lot of people back cost nobody anything, right? Where this is an expansion that does require you buy the expansion, and maybe just naturally you have less people interested in coming back to New World or checking out some changes in New World when now there's a dollar amount associated with coming back to see those changes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I I mean, considering the $30 amount and the player spike being like this, I think it I think it makes sense. I feel like Amazon Games just keeps shooting themselves in the foot, not having mega servers for each region. I'm a huge advocate for that. I don't understand why they don't do it. But the servers are capped at like almost 3,000 right now, and the like each server, or at least the one I'm on, also Marama, like Troy, it feels very alive. I'm constantly running into other players, even outside of like cities and the new areas. Um, yeah, I don't know. I wish the game was more popular because I do think it has something special. I think it's like the best casual MMO out there right now. I haven't tried all of them recently, but uh, I find it easy to get back into as opposed to Maple Story, which has, which like on the opposite end of the spectrum, in my opinion, is the least casual MMO out there, which is funny because it looks
It
like
looks
it's
the
for
most
children.
casual, yeah.
uh, so new, it's been, it sucks that it's not more popular. I don't think the $30 expansion price tag is something to complain about, though. I mean, the game has went 2 years without anything, and hopefully the money they make off of this will mean that there's like better things coming for New World, or at least like we have now like a year or
Yeah,
two more of the
Maybe they
game.
can afford swimming now.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I will
I
say
really do.
I'm enjoying
Mega
it more
service.
than I did at launch. I'll give it that. Whatever they've done to revamp the beginning portions of the game, I really wanted to check out New World's dungeons, right? That's Troy, you know I'm all about dungeons
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that in MMOs, whether it's ESO or for Final Fantasy 14 or World of Warcraft or whatever. Dungeons, raids. That's my content. And so I was already kind of like, nah, when it came to New World because of the heavy PvP focus, which seems to all but have evaporated. Like, if you're a PvP person, I'm sorry. Like, there was not a lot of PvP news leading up to this expansion for PvP players. Not to say that they didn't make some changes. They definitely did. But that was not the focus of this expansion, was getting PvP or something else to do, Troy.
Yeah, and
And
unfortunately, I can't log in because of queues during the influence races.
yeah.
So I don't have any idea like if there's hype in chat for that or not because it's 11, 12 o'clock before I can get logged in. So I can't get in there to see, how much are people participating in that. I would love to take part in some of the new open world stuff, but I can't get in to see what's going on with it.
Now, what level is my first dungeon? Because that's where I'm really trying to get to.
25.
25. So
Emerine.
I get my mount at 25 as too, right, from doing that quest.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I
yeah,
was
We're
thinking
gonna
about you. I was actually thinking about you last night when I was running dungeons and I was tanking again for the first time in a long time. And I was like, some of the dungeons, there were a couple that I hadn't actually seen before that were some of the newest ones where I had kind of quit running dungeons because the Umbral Shards and all that was going to be useless anyway. And I was thinking about you and I was like, man, Mike really needs to see a couple of these dungeons and
I
a couple
really
of
do
these
want
fights.
to, and I really
They're
wanted
really
to when it
nice.
launched, but I was like, nah, I can't. This just isn't capturing me. I will say, I'm looking forward to having some time to sit down and play some more, and I've already
I was gonna
surpassed
say,
level
Mike,
18. Go ahead.
the that problem you're having with like not upgrading your weapon, I'm pretty sure they they changed the way loot works so that loot the loot drops are only going to pertain to your character. Like for example, I'm running like a mage build right now, and the loot I pick up is always spec for intelligence,
Right.
and I do pick up other weapons that aren't mage related, but
Yeah, it's not 100%, but
don't.
it is heavily biased now.
Yeah, it helps now,
Cool.
and also I like the second you start running dungeons, uh, you will get like every single, like like this in every single weapon around your level range. Like the second you get to level 25 and start doing Amrine.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely
I think
do
that
want to
solves the
play. So
problem.
to me, that's a win, right? They got what they hoped for out of me. Now, will I buy a premium season pass or go buy a cosmetic skin to throw them some money in addition to it? I don't know. I'm not exactly thrilled with the way the New World manages seasons anyway, but that's an entirely different topic that isn't exclusive to the expansion. But I do want to play it some more. And I definitely feel like, yes, I'm enjoying this enough that I don't mind playing further to get to the dungeons and start seeing some of that content that I was really interested in, but did not have any interest in getting to. That has changed. Now, how long will that change is the other question. We'll, of course, be watching those Steam numbers closely over the next few months, and I'll really, Troy, be interested to see where do those numbers go this weekend. Where do they go this weekend? Because this is, this would be the weekend for New World post-expansion. It's going to be its best weekend. It's not going to get better than this weekend.
Yeah.
So where do those numbers come in then? We'll be keeping an eye on it. Let us know your thoughts about the New World Rise of the Angry Earth expansion down below. Now let's slide over and cover some news. Hold on. Let me write down my timestamp. Let's cover some raising an eyebrow type things. We have a Final Fantasy 14 player, Troy, who has achieved the ultimate achievement. They have unlocked all 2,751 achievements currently available in Final Fantasy 14, and it only took them a little under 10 years to do it. That's it. That's it. This includes everything, right? 2,000 mentor roulettes, 3,000 victories in front lines, 1,000 in rival wings, 5,000 in crystalline conflict or the feast, like all the crafting stuff, all the hunting S-rank stuff, like every foreseeable grind that you could imagine in Final Fantasy 14, this person, Troy, has completed.
I couldn't imagine. I've never been an achievement hunter. So I couldn't imagine sitting out and being like, all the achievements.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That's dedication. That's dedication. Didn't somebody recently, Matthew, do something like very similar in RuneScape? I feel like we covered something that was like an achievement in RuneScape that was like 20 years in the making or something.
I don't remember that.
Hold on. RuneScape achievement. No, I don't want to see the actual achievement diary. News. I don't know. There was something somebody did in RuneScape recently, but man, 10 years. 10 years. I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 for all those 10 years. I'm nowhere close. I'm nowhere.
How close are you, Mike? You should be like
Nowhere
at least 2,500 by now, right?
I could see that real quick without logging in. Let me go to FF Collect and we'll select my character. Whoops, wrong server. And search. Yep, there you are. Select. And achievements overview. Apparently, I have my achievements set to private, so the site can't pick up my. Probably because it's not 2,751. It's probably not even close. Not even close. I mean, congrats, but damn, that's dedication. Overwatch League finished its season. Congrats to our new champions, the Florida Mayhem, taking the title and $1 million for the first time. However, we don't know what the hell's happening with the Overwatch League, right? Like, we know during Blizzard's financials that the contract was up for signing, but teams had not signed it yet. And if they opt not to sign it, then Blizzard's going to have to pay out $144 million in fees. But then that essentially ends the Overwatch League as we know it. The sign-off was a bit teary-eyed, I got a little misty the way they signed off. And then the Overwatch League tweet says, with the completion of the 2023 Overwatch League season, we will be focusing on building our vision of a revitalized esports program. We're eager to share more with you as details are finalized. So is there even going to be an owl, Matthew? Is the owl going to live on in a different form? Like, what's going on here? What do you think is the future of the Overwatch League?
I don't know. I don't think like I don't find Overwatch the competitive Overwatch scene that even exciting, to be honest with you. But I know people do, and this is obviously really cool, and that like, they won a bunch of money and stuff. But like what exactly are they gonna change to address the fact that Overwatch isn't as popular as it used to be? It's like I don't
Not
know
only that,
what
esports isn't as popular as A, it used to be, and B,
Yeah.
even as it used to be, as big as companies wanted it to be, right? I mean, Troy, that was like the thing. I mean, we had companies building their own stadiums around this stuff.
Yeah.
And like stadiums is a generous word, but these are not cheap production facilities to put these things on. And we had like Riot and Blizzard exploring building their own facilities. And just none of these companies have made the money off of esports, if they manage to make money at all, that they ever anticipated. Overwatch being no exception.
Yeah, and I could see them maybe doing something kind of like what Smite has done, where they've kind of privatized their esports league, where all the players are just employees of the company, and they get paid. You know, they don't get like billions of dollars in prize money, but they get paid salaries. You know, enough to make a living doing it while they're in the league. So it'd be interesting to see if they go something along that route where they're not necessarily contracting with teams. They're kind of bringing them all in house, and they're all sort of employees of the company.
I don't know. It was a little sad. EverQuest 2 and the original EverQuest getting more expansions, both hitting milestones now. The next expansion for EverQuest will be its 30th. That's coming in December, and EverQuest 2 will get its 20th expansion this November. Man, it just makes me feel like it just makes me feel old every time we write these pieces. Like every single time, Matthew, it's like, oh, I'm going to assign somebody EverQuest 2's 18th expansion, man. Now it's old enough to drink. Like, or now it's old enough to vote. Now it's getting its 20th. You know, next year, that means EverQuest 2 will be able to buy a beer. At this point, EverQuest 3 turning, 30th expansion. That's what, that's old enough to have a couple of kids at treading on middle school at that point, depending on how early it started with the youngins. I don't know, man. EverQuest 2 is always one of those games I want to jump into since I never really played it a lot, but I just can never do it. And expansion time seemed like the best time too, but I just never pulled the trigger on it. But congrats to them.
And these announcements always make me sad for these older games, because I think of something like Rift and how it's sitting there just stagnant.
Not doing anything.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I would never try EverQuest or EverQuest 2 at this point, but EverQuest 3 just in terms of like how many good things I've heard about EverQuest, and that's how it's one of the OGs and stuff like that. I would try EverQuest 3 as someone who's never played EverQuest 1 or 2 and has heard good things about EverQuest and like the world and its legacy.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that actually comes to fruition. We're maybe working on it. 25 million. We'll see. We'll see if it ever comes to fruition. Here's a goofy one for you. Rubber Bandits. Not the Wet Bandits from Home Alone. This is the Rubber Bandits. This is a kind of a PUBG meets Fall Guys type game. It is a battle royale developed by Flashbulb Games. They actually have another game out as well. The demo here is a part of Steam Next Fest. So you could play the demo through like October 16th, starting October 9th. So you have like a whole week next week where you can actually check this out. And this sparked my fancy when I saw it, Troy, in the same way that like Headbangers and my pigeons sparked my fancy. I was like, this looks like stupid fun. I feel like, though, it might probably end up doing what Fall Guys did for me. This is stupid fun for about a month, and I'm done.
Yeah, I think that would be me too. Is even if I did check it out, and I don't know that I'm going to at this point.
Oh, you
I just
are.
got
I'm
a
going to
lot.
make you on a stream.
Dadgummit. Well, we'll check it out and play through it one time. But yeah, I don't see this being any kind of long-term thing for me.
Matt, do you like these kinds of games? These like the Fall Guys, the goofy battle royale-ish type stuff, like the off-brand battle royales when we get like Tetris 99 and Pac-Man 99 and Fall Guys and stuff like that?
Did you guys like not hear about Party Animals? Like that
That's
game
true.
that's kind of like a Gang Beasts.
Yeah.
This is very similar to it. Even
Yep.
the fact that you could pick someone up and throw them off. Party Animals seems I like the aesthetic of Party Animals better, but judging of it just how much fun I've had playing that game, even though it's like not a game I see myself playing long term. This game I would definitely try out for just some stupid fun, but I agree. I don't think this is a game that will have a very long
A
life.
lasting influence. Tori the chicken in chat says, hey, it's better than Apex.
Is it free?
I don't think it's going to be.
Okay, then it's definitely not going to kick off.
Well, it will eventually.
Yeah, I mean, Fall Guys wasn't
it'll
initially,
be
right?
eventually,
Yeah,
yeah.
Fall Guys wasn't.
That's true, and I did buy Fall Guys, so we'll see.
Yeah, there's nothing there on cost yet, but unless I'm just not reading in the fine print somewhere that it says free. Yeah, I'll check it out. Why not? Here's some news for you. Some former Ubisoft executives have been arrested, in quotes, detained, in quotes. It all depends on how you want to translate or how Google translates feeling that particular day. 5 former Ubisoft employees, including a number of executives, have been arrested, detained, quote, however you want to word it, in France, following a year-long sexual harassment investigation, Troy. Oof. Not just, hey, your company's being sued by the state of California. Now we're arresting or detaining, at least, for questioning your former employees.
And I still feel like, when these allegations first started popping up around, Ubisoft, when kind of the same time Blizzard and all that was going on, I feel like Ubisoft blew it off more than anybody else. I mean, everybody tried to distance themselves from it, obviously, PR wise, but I feel like Ubisoft just blew it off and was like, nah, we don't care. It's no big deal.
Oh, Ubisoft. Matthew. Oh, Ubisoft.
Yeah, they're gross.
That is like just the most succinct way to sum up Ubisoft and that entire story. Hey, we did
Bones, baby, Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones. It's coming. Sure, why not? We talked about on last week's cast potential breach of Sony and being ransomed for some of their data. Now, there's an additional breach that Sony has confirmed. We reported on this, but if you are, in the world and have information anywhere here in the United States, you probably already know about this. Sony confirmed they had been breached this week. They weren't confirming that previous breach, which they said is still under investigation, and they don't believe that general operations were impacted by that supposed ransom. But they did confirm that about 7,000 of its own employees, Troy, had information of theirs breached as part of a 0-day vulnerability in the MoveIt transfer platform. That vulnerability, you may have gotten letters in the mail here in the U.S. because there are a lot of systems that interact with MoveIt transfer. And so, yeah, since they were breached, they've been pumping out communication. I literally got one from my county, Allegheny County, sent one saying, hey, your data might have been compromised because we do use Move It. And Sony not unique in this one, but to be clear, they were confirming that breach, not the ransom breach, which they still have not fully confirmed was a thing yet. And I know you're waiting for stuff, Troy, for Rift. That's not going to happen. But how about Gamigo's other title? They've got some stuff in Trove for you. Finally, you get another Trove update. You're happy now, right?
Oh, yay. Trove updates for titles. It's a titles update. Talk about things that have been missing for years. Titles, prefixes and suffixes, by the way. You can add something before your name and after your name. Congratulations to them.
Why are you being such a big baby about this? It's a feature. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a feature. It's super
I can
cool.
go around, do stuff in game, and earn some titles.
Why are you being titles.
Why are you being such a baby about this?
You can craft titles.
Okay,
you can
cool.
earn titles.
Yeah, cool.
And you can buy them in the cash shop in loot boxes.
Oh. Well, I mean, there's probably like one or two available in the cash shop, right? Like, I can't imagine there being very many.
There's only 100+ titles available in the cash shop in loot boxes.
Oh. And I can't buy the title I want directly, even if I wanted to buy some font on a screen.
No, because you have to gamble for them in loot boxes. Gambling for titles. The first one you ever get should be called The Gambler.
Oh.
Who is this marketed towards?
The
Kids?
whales that still play the game.
The people that get 2,500 or 751 achievements in an MMO.
Yeah.
Chat being a little more direct. Idiots. That's who it's marketed to.
Idiots, yeah.
What's sad is Trove is a game I enjoy jumping into now and then. Like whenever I haven't played in a while, I'll jump in for a couple of days and play around and go see the biomes and get some new gear and do all the Trove things.
Cash purchase loot boxes for a chance at some text before or after my name.
In Trove. You have to in Trove.
Dude, Matthew, you are on point today.
That is Gamigo for you right there.
He's
like that is prime Gamigo.
Yeah. Let's go do the weekly bombs. That is fucking terrible. Can't get a Rift update to save our lives, though. Can't get a Rift. Except Hellbug mounts are back. It's the same thing.
For the millionth
time. Hey, I want to give a dub bomb to a rumor, and it may just be a rumor, and that's, it is what it is. Please be true. Please be true. Please be true. That we could be getting a multiplayer game based on the horror franchise Scream. I am all for Evil Dead, which unfortunately Evil Dead the game is still open, but not going to be getting any more development as of last month. We already reported on that. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, big fan. We've got Killer Clowns from Outer Space coming at some point. Obviously, you have Dead by Daylight doing its stuff here. How do we not have one based on, how did we not get one based on Scream first? Like, that seems like we're getting new Scream movies still. Like, please be true. Dub bomb to the rumor. Please be true. Please be true.
Couldn't care less.
Shut up. Go, Troy.
You know what? I'm going to give a dub bomb to Warhaven for giving me something to do while I'm sitting in queue for New World.
All right. That's fair enough. I'm not really sure if that's a dub bomb or an A bomb to one or the other. I don't. Go ahead,
maybe
Matthew.
an A bomb to New World.
Yeah, maybe an A bomb to New World.
A bomb to Nexon because in Korea they have this thing called Maple Story Worlds, which is basically like Super Mario Maker but with Maple Story assets, and I guess a small team of Korean folk over there created old school Maple Story, like the classic Maple Story, the stuff that I grew up with, and it's a super popular server over there. So it's like the first like official, like unofficial, official classic MapleStory version because private servers are illegal. And yet MapleStory Worlds isn't in the West yet. They haven't even given us a release date yet. So A-bomb to Nexon for not giving us a release date even or letting us know when it's coming to the West because I really want to play that. That's it.
Wow, double Nexon bombs. What a day.
Yeah, what a day. What a day. What a day to be alive. From the viewers, Grave Smasher saying the worst news, other than Pantheon's now a game for kids, is that the Lord of the Rings Online remaster is never going to happen. They just killed their own game, or in other words, we will go into maintenance mode sooner than you think. Yeah, as part of the financial presentation, they did kind of say, hey, you know, they did a return on investment analysis on it, and unsurprising to basically no one, I guess, it's not going to be worth the effort to graphically overhaul Lord of the Rings Online. So
That's unfortunate.
that's very unfortunate. Go ahead, Troy.
Thuverisk, the edge of the steak is the best part, and I like my brownies medium rare.
I have a
In reference to last week's conversation about brownie edges and how do you eat your steak.
yeah, I have a feeling, Thoberisk, you might have confused things a little here. I don't want to eat a brownie medium rare, though. And the edge of the steak is usually a bone. If like you have a T-bone steak or something like that. I mean, a fillet.
With them.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Like I agree. Yeah, I'll take a medium rare brownie over like a hard one.
No, the ends.
No.
Go ahead,
middle.
Matthew.
That sounds good. Anyway, Cal2399 said, A-bomb to all these WoW refugees like Zepla complaining about the content in Final Fantasy 14. This game made its bones by catering to the casual player and became a hit because of that. If you want more hardcore content, I'm sure there are WildStar emulators out there somewhere. Go play one of those. Is that Gatekeeper E of me? You betcha. Do I care? Not in the slightest.
Yeah, that's what. Whoops. Oh, wrong button. That's one of the things. Like we did the show yesterday, and I, Endwalker as a FF14, junkie. Endwalker's probably one of the weaker expansions to me, just because of the way it delivered content for my liking. But I also am able to recognize that, yeah, it's the game's bread and butter is casual players, and I might be a little more hardcore than I am casual, and so I'm going to have some gaps in content. I can fully accept that. Doesn't mean I have to like it. I can complain about it on a podcast, but I understand it. Last week's question of the week, is Pantheon's art change a good move, a bad move, what? Stefan W2500 says, in Pantheon's defense, a game is like 80% under the hood, like a skeleton, and the look of the game is like a skin. That's all we see, right? All of which can be changed out for new models, etc. And I get it. Those 20% of the game is all we see, but there's so much more. So them talking about this 9 years after the idea was laid out isn't that surprising to me. They can change the style as they like, but I understand where you come from. But all they've shown was a work in progress, more so on the art style of things, right? I'm not a fan of very stylized graphics because everyone and their grandmother does it these days. True. And so I hate the look of it. I'll play it, but I'm so bored of the style after so many years with World of Warcraft, so I can accept it, but I'll have an easier time leaving the game later. I like the realistic, dark, gritty, gory look more than anything else. The adult look, not some kids' game. Stefan, I don't think you're off base in, I think 9 years not having, and then readily acknowledging that, we never really had an opportunity to discuss our own stylistic vision. I don't buy that. I think there was more in like the cost analysis and stuff behind the scenes that they were like, we can't continue on this path. We have to make a big change. And there's some other opinions that we'll get to here that might be a little more aggressive than that one. But I am with you on, I kind of prefer, I don't mind stylized, but is it fair to say I'd leave a stylized game easier? I might be with you on that. I don't think I hate it or am annoyed by its overabundance as much as you are, but I have to think about that. Like, would it make it easier to leave? I don't know. I might be with you there. Go ahead, Troy.
Taskmaster Zero. Maybe Pantheon is waiting for Star Citizen to release. LOL. And a dub bomb to Star Ocean Second Story R coming out in November on Steam. It is one of my favorite games ever.
I can't wait, Taskmaster. I'm right there. Right there. Go ahead, Matthew.
Sorry, Nuno Silva said, in my opinion, the art style is being changed so for legal reasons the game can be launched and be done with. After 9 years, does anyone expect a good game?
And that is not an opinion I've heard by just one person, Troy.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much out of Pantheon myself.
There is a lot of online speculation that the art style does get them to a point where they can at least release a product and avoid any potential legal situations like we've seen with Chronicles of Illyria or other kickstarted or crowdfunded games like that. I don't know how much truth there is to it, but Nuna Silva, you are not alone in that opinion at all. At all. EQOA Nostalgia. Love you, my friend. Pantheon is full stop BS mode. I have a feeling, I hope it is, otherwise I don't know if I love you. EQOA Nostalgia, I feel like is the person that runs a Twitter account that I kind of banter with back and forth on the MMOBomb account. Anytime something EverQuest related comes up. Because EQOA Nostalgia, that's EverQuest Online Adventures, which was a PlayStation 2 EverQuest game, and literally the first MMO I ever personally played, not realizing it was an MMO, except for Phantasy Star Online on the Dreamcast before that, which was more co-op than like mass multiplayer. So like MMO, EQOA. Pantheon is full stop BS mode at this point. I'm over it. And then Trenchard, question of the week. Honestly, the game looks like crap before, and now the new art style still looks like crap. So as you can imagine, I think this change is an absolutely bad move. Take it, Troy.
Cal, if the art style change allows the dev team to dramatically increase production time on the game as they claim, then it is a good move. I don't know much about this game, but it looks like it's targeting the player that likes the old school MMO.
Definitely.
If that is indeed the case, most of its target audience is likely here for the mechanics, and I doubt many of them drop off due to graphic changes.
And I am thinking that's what Pantheon is hoping for, too.
Yeah.
That exact logic. The people that are here aren't really here for the art style.
Unfortunately, art ends up mattering more often than it should, though.
And Takal does chime in on the other question of the week, too.
Oh, other question of the week. I refuse to have my steak any other way than well done. Ugh. Yeah, something tough, something ruins flavor. I don't care about any of that. Cook my food. Things that should have pink in them, an anniversary card, a little girl's dress, watermelon Jolly Ranchers. Things that should not have pink in them, my steak.
Bunch of savages. Go ahead, Matthew.
Cannibal Zombie Christ said, Pantheon decided to pivot into a WoW clone. Is what that art style means. Hard pass, cancel it already.
Yeah, I mean, there's not an overabundance of positive feedback on the Pantheon style art change. This week, question of the week, I want to know, can an expansion by itself bring you back to an MMO? Now, I'm not talking about New World specifically, but if you want to talk about that in your question, you can. Can an expansion by itself bring you back to an MMO that you didn't initially enjoy? I don't want to know about those games that you're like, hey, I dabble in WoW, I enjoy WoW, but I'm not going to play it until the next expansion. Then you play it for 6 months, and then you fall out of it, and then a year and a half later, you jump in for... No. I did not like New World. I'm enjoying the expansion. Have you ever had that happen? If it hasn't happened, why? Are you just one and done? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget your weekly bombs. Dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or just life in general. Until next week, Matthew, where can everybody find you?
Dino Fries on everything. Look me up. Follow me. I might follow you back. That's
Troy.
it. Thanks, guys.
I might follow you back if you're lucky. Give me a follow on twitch.tv/noobfridge. I've been streaming New World when I get to play. I've been streaming Warhaven while I'm waiting to play. It is a little late at night, I get that, but if you would give me a follow, I would certainly appreciate it.
Go do it. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at magicman1. But more importantly, follow at MMOBomb so you'll know every time we're going live with a podcast, a stream, hanging out, anytime we put up first looks, giveaways, interviews, and more. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.